Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me here. What I am a little bit past, I'm sorry, actually right at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm actually on time here for Saturday. And there were so many things I want to talk about this week that I couldn't get them all in. So I thought I have to do a show now on Saturday, and then tomorrow I'll do an AMA. So the thing I missed, we want to talk about, I will do tomorrow to make sure I get a bunch of stuff going on here. But because there were just so many things I wanted to bring up, because I missed 2 days. Sadly, I was out doing things and then smashing my ankles, which are actually healing very well. For those of you, some of you reached out. I appreciate that. Yes, doing totally fine. All good. I'm lucky. Every time something goes good for me health-wise, I always say it's because keto, whether it's keto or not, don't care. It is. And then goes bad, it's not keto. See, that's how that works. It ensures that my narrative is always correct. That's pretty simple, isn't it? I thought you guys would enjoy that. I talked a lot about Kathy Hochul yesterday, my governor. And I know some of you are like, no more Kathy Hochul stuff. She's my governor. I do chat about her often. That's true. But this time, I got to go back and I got to do some stuff from Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Why would I bring that up? Well, because recently some people have been upset about what he's trying to do, things he's been trying to do now that he is HHS director. And I wanted to bring them up and I'm going to chat about them. And it brings me back to his confirmation and how people were completely and utterly full of you know what. Yes, that's what I'll say. I will say you know what. Yeah. So let me grab, if I could, I'm bringing this up actually from the Young Turks. The Young Turks brought this about 3 days ago. Again, I wanted to bring it up then, but I couldn't do a show. So I'm going to bring this up and I want you to kind of see what Anna is talking about here, what she's bringing up, and kind of how she talks about this. Because it does matter, right? It does matter because it's, she's more left-leaning, I would say that. Maybe not left now. I don't know what she is, but yeah. Here we go.
Listen, I know people, including members of my family, who've had a much worse time getting off of SSRIs than people have getting off of heroin.
Now, he says that he knows people who've had more trouble getting off of SSRIs than heroin. And this woman, who of course she's a congressman, so she's probably not that bright, because most Congress people aren't, as I've told you many times. Most of them aren't that bright. She either isn't that bright or is a complete and utter ideologue, either one, which often equals the same. She, of course, will attack him as an idiot. She will call him bad names because logic means nothing. Let's just attack people and insult them, and she will jump on board.
It's the withdrawal period is, and it's written on the label.
I have some experience with this
documented
myself.
And this is the old, well, it didn't happen to me, therefore it doesn't exist.
Mr. Kennedy, this is personal for me. When I was a young woman and I was struggling with depression, thankfully, I had the resources to help me get through it. I think that—
No, you're still there, my dear. You have not broken it. You are still there.
Everyone should have access to that care. And your job as secretary is to expand access to care, not to—
So your job as HHS is to give out more SSRIs, not to fix the problem, to give out more of them. Now, why would she say that? Could it be because she gets a lot of money from pharma? Yes. Could it be that the media loves to get pharma dollars? Yes, of course.
Spread lies and misinformation.
That's what it is, lies and misinformation.
The first order of business for RFK Jr., now that he has been confirmed as the Secretary for Health and Human Services, is to focus on a class of drugs that treat depression, anxiety, and mood disorders.
Now, Anna, of course, still being left, will only do the same thing. She may try to be a bit more open because sometimes the Young Turks are more open. That's true. Sometimes they are. But she always will have to go back to insult insult, insult. You have to go to insult and dismissiveness. That's just the way that it works in this country.
His argument is that these drugs are overprescribed, that they're not as harmless as the pharmaceutical industry would have you believe.
Does that sound crazy to anybody who's been on them?
And for individuals who want to stop taking said drugs, the withdrawals are pretty terrible. So let's go over what he is planning to do, what he's not gonna do, and what the reality is when it comes to this class of drugs, also known as SSRIs. So he outlined his plans recently, saying that he's calling for the federal government to investigate the root causes.
Now, I want you to realize something. Think about how long the NIH and CDC have been around, how long we've been having these problems, how long autism has been an issue in America. I mean, decades, ADHD, decades, asthma, decades, obesity, decades, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, all decades. Why hasn't someone already done this? Really? About 20 years ago, if you remember, Chris Rock did a, I forgot what it was called. He did a HBO special. And what did he say? He said, we're not going to cure anything. He goes, we don't cure anything. He said, we haven't cured anything since polio. That was his joke, right? He said, we don't cure anything. Why would we? He goes, there's no money in it. The money's on the comeback. That's his joke, right? Well, if that's true, if Chris Rock was right, he was. Why didn't the federal government say, hey, let's find the root causes? Because then there's no money in it. There's no comeback, as he said, right? I can't make another once-a-day pill. Why would you solve it when you can have a once-a-day pill? The goal of Big Pharma is to have everybody on at least a dozen, if not more than that, but at least a dozen one-a-day pills. And now they know some people got tired of one-a-day pills, if you notice that. So what do they do now? This is just a once-a-week pill, or this is just a once a month pill. So see, it's way better. That's the new thing now. So I'm not making this up, but why would he even do this? It's almost as if some people are like, why would he do this? This makes a lot of sense. Shouldn't he be doing this?
Of a broad range of conditions, including autism,
Yep.
ADHD,
Yep.
asthma, obesity, multiple sclerosis, and psoriasis. So I have psoriasis. It sucks. I'm interested to see what he finds from.
So she dismisses it. And here's the reason why all those are done. For every one of those, there's a once-a-day pill or a once-a-week pill for every one of them. If you haven't seen it, you guys know Sky Rizzy? Yes, I know that one. I see the commercial on CNN all the time, MSNBC, Fox all the time, right? What's their say? I know they're saying. Because I have to watch this stuff. So if I remember right, I actually remember their little thing. It's nothing is everything. I know their little thing. No psoriasis, nothing is everything. Like, well done. That's great marketing, right? Because I remember it. I don't have psoriasis. Why don't I have psoriasis? Because I'm on keto. Because keto solves everything, as I've already expressed. It solves everything. So that's why I don't have psoriasis. She wouldn't have psoriasis if she was on keto, because keto solves everything. So there we go. My narrative is once again complete. So in any case, so she's joking about it. Why? Because pharma is shoving this, and this pill also has side effects. Again, side effects. So you can giggle all you want, but there are people who don't want to have messed up skin, so they take this thing and they have side effects. So what must they do when you have side effects? Well, stop taking it, right? No, take the other medication that stops the side effects of the first medication. I wish I was joking. I think you all know I'm not.
His, inquiry or deep investigation into it.
Hold on. Literally, it actually says, I've had eczema. My husband has another type of skin issues. Both cleared up after carnivore/keto. Solves everything. Literally everything. Yes.
But nonetheless, while there weren't any mentions of things like childhood vaccines, which is a good thing.
He did say that. He says he wasn't going to ban them. Yes. Andrea says keto reversed my psoriasis. Yes, I wasn't kidding. Keto solves everything. There we go. Everything.
You know, he did also mention these SSRIs and the multitude of mental health issues that both adults and children are struggling with. The government, he said, would assess the prevalence of and treat and threat posed by the prescription of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, antipsychotics, and mood stabilizers. Again, these are no.
And this is what people, basically just Democrats, right now, basically just Democrats, are mad at. This reminds me of when Eric Adams, my glorious mayor, when he said, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, when he said, we're gonna actually teach our kids to read. I'm not joking. I did a video on it. You saw it. His words. We're gonna teach our kids to read, because for years we stopped doing phonics, which is the best way to teach kids to read. We've known that for like centuries. And because some consultant came in and gave somebody money, we stopped doing that. I wish I was joking. I'm not. So we were not teaching our kids phonics, so they don't know how to read. New York State kids can't read worth a damn. That's a fact. So then literally he said, we're going to teach our kids to read. Like he was, what have you been doing for years? You were not teaching them to read? You were not. That's correct. You were not. So now we're saying we should assess the prevalence and threat posed by these prescriptions. What were you doing before? Wasn't this your job to already know what were you doing before? We should figure out the root causes. What were you doing before? What were you doing before?
Known as SSRIs. We're talking about drugs like Prozac, Zoloft, Lexapro. You get the picture. Now, Kennedy has been ringing the alarm about what he believes is the overprescription of SSRIs for a while now.
So where's the ban? There's no ban. She said, you have to make sure people have access. He never said you can have access. He's worried about overprescribing. Do we really think they're not overprescribing? Is there anyone in this country who isn't an absolute ideologue who actually believes they're not overprescribing? Our current system, whether you're left-leaning, right-leaning, Democrat, Republican, everyone knows is based upon doctors making cash based upon prescriptions. So they're not being overprescribed? Of course they are.
He has suggested during an X Spaces that he took part in 2023 that tremendous circumstantial evidence suggested that people taking antidepressants were more likely to carry out school shootings. He did not provide any research or data to reinforce that notion. Researchers so far have not found a link between the two. And in fact, studies suggest that only a minority of school shooters were prescribed medication before they.
That's literally the lie. They add in, by the way, gang members. But look at the actual school shootings. Almost every one of them was.
They carried out, the tragic crimes that they carried out. Now, a big thing to also point out about RFK Jr.'s aversion to SSRIs is that, like, he seems to be confusing dependency with addiction. So he's comparing people who stop taking SSRIs as individuals who stop using heroin. But we're talking about two different things here.
No, we are not. She is utterly incorrect. We are not. If you have been on any of those, you know the withdrawal symptoms are bad no matter what. Now, I'm not saying someone who's on an SSRI is an addict. I'm not saying that. And that's what she's trying to say that he's saying. She's trying to insult him. And again, that's all Democrats know is just insult. She's trying to insult him. Nobody said that because you require a medication, it makes you an addict. That was never said. It's not true. I know addicts. My mother was one. My mother was a felon. I know what addicts do. Many of you who are watching understand an addict. An addict doesn't mean that you are dependent upon a drug. Doesn't mean you're dependent on a drug because you have a problem. They're two separate things. However, here's the common thing which he is saying. When you get off of a drug that affects your brain, there are withdrawal symptoms. That's the same. Whether you have an issue that you're trying to fix or whether you're an addict does not matter. At the end, if you come off, there are withdrawal symptoms. Either way, it does not matter, whatever the reason is. But she has to insult. That's the issue. She has to make it in. See, he's just calling people names because he's bad.
It is true that individuals who take SSRIs for a long period of time can develop a dependence on them. And if they stop taking the drugs cold turkey, they will suffer some serious withdrawal symptoms.
So what's your problem?
If they wean off the drugs too quickly, they can also suffer from similar consequences.
So what's the problem? Why are you insulting?
But again, dependency and addiction are two different things. Individuals can often experience negative symptoms when they stop taking them, especially if they do so abruptly. This is similar to physical dependence, but it is different from addiction.
Nobody said it wasn't. This is just a straw man, not a real thing. So I want to bring the piece up because it's the insult versus insult versus insult. So I thought that was interesting. So let me grab a couple of comments. I have one more I want to show you also if I could do this. A lot of you are popping this up. Michael says, I'm on Lexapro, been on it for years. Help us manage my mania. But they prescribe these meds like Tic Tacs. Yes. No one's saying people shouldn't have access to Lexapro. You should have access to whatever you want to have access to or whatever you think will work best with your health. You own your life, your health, do as you see fit. Absolutely. But there is no, you're on it and you know, without question, it is overprescribed. That's the issue. It's just overprescribed. So yes, Kim says, doctor nowadays study how to write prescriptions. That's true. Yes, that's true. They do. Absolutely. Emperor, thank you so much for being a new member. I appreciate it. Every member does count. I appreciate that. And with that in mind, guys, I'm not done. I got some more comments I want to pick up, and I have a couple of things I'm going to show you. But before we go there, you can always click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. It is the like button. That button does matter if you can do it because you know who likes it? Mr. Rhythm. His first name is Al. His middle name is Gore. He loves when you click the like button because it tells him that this must be good, so he will show it to more people. And I am beholden to him. Phil says, thank you for being a member, Phil. My baloney has a first name. It's L-I-K-E. That didn't go well. My baloney has a second name. It's B-U-T-T-O-N. Oh, I love to hit it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, because the like button is the way to keep the show okay. There we go. I'm a natural rhymer. Look at that. I'm a poet. It's amazing. I do appreciate that. So please click that like button, as I say. If you have not shared or reposted this, please do so right away. Post it in X, post it on, share it in Facebook, a Facebook group, whatever the case may be. Please, if you would, follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. All three. I'm on all of them. Please follow me on those if you want to. You can subscribe also on YouTube if you would, and click all notifications. Clicking all notifications means you'll get all notifications, so you'll know when I'm on. If you want your chat to go to the front, you can put it right to the front. You can do it two ways. One, you can rant me on Rumble if you want to. I'm on Ladder Sharpe Rumble, or you can super chat me here on Sharpe Way YouTube. Either one works. But what's the best of them all? Become a member. $49 per month. Click that join button on YouTube, or click that subscribe button on Rumble. Either one of those, great idea. If you can do that, please do that. It does matter. Every single time we make this happen, more and more of this works this way. I have to do less work and do more of this. I can go online even more to where you guys get so sick of me. I can only hope. So, yes. I want to head over to Rumble if I could and grab one of these here. Joel says, every kid would be on Ritalin if they had their way. I got to tell you, I have seen mothers be so afraid of their kids not being what they deem normal, however they deem it, that they will do almost anything to make their kid what they deem as normal. And when they do that, they are sometimes very open to putting them on anything just to make their kid what they see as normal. So over on Instagram, Mikey says, once a month injection. There we go. Once a month injection. That's the answer. 100%. Yes. Beach Medic says, RFK is addicted to TRT. Is he going to cut off his own meds? Maybe, I don't know. Is that true? Is he actually addicted to that? I don't know that. I believe you. I don't know that. If he is, maybe, is he addicted to it? I think you're just insulting again. You must be a Democrat. You're just insulting. I think that's the key, right? You find it constantly. There's no answer. It's just insult constantly. That's the norm, and it drives me crazy. Republicans do that here in New York State. They just insult Democrats and don't have an answer. And then Democrats now, because now Trump's in charge, so they just insult him and have no answer. Whoever's in charge, whoever's not in charge, just insults the one in charge and doesn't have an answer. So here in New York State, I'm the only guy who actually gives answers, but Republicans just yell and insult the Democrats. And now nationally, Democrats just insult Trump or insult RFK, have no answer. So again, Beach is going, let me insult him. Anna, let me insult. Okay, what's your answer? Do you not want him doing these things? You don't care. You just want to insult because it makes him bad so we can ignore him. That's the sad part. And it happens all the time. Anyway, let me walk down a couple of these if I could. Vivek says, when will Dr. Bhattacharya become NIS director? They've just put in a temporary one. I think about a week or two ago, they put a temporary director there. I'm sorry, but a week or two ago, temporary one. My assumption is it'll be by mid-March. He should have all his stuff done, or at least he should have all stuff done by mid-March. So by end of March, he should actually be, not just confirmed, but also installed by end of March will be my assumption. Mid-March, it'll probably be, confirmation will be done and installed by end of March. That'd be my assumption because 30 days is, yeah. So probably that's my assumption. So yes, there we go. All righty. Let me see if I can grab some of these if I could. That Liberty Lady says, Sharpie, smash the thumbs up on the way in. And don't forget to share this stream with your friends. Make sure to follow and hit the bell so you always know when Larry Sharpe is live streaming. Yes, absolutely true. Yes, I wish you would all do that. That would be awesome. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple more of these. Phil says, nobody died at my school, but there's a lot of correlation between SSRIs and school shootings. That's true. Yes. Mike says, the main side effects are suicidal thoughts and violence. Not good. You know what? You brought this up. Let me just go there right now if I could. I'm not going to talk about Anna anymore. She just wants to insult, which is fine. That's what they always do. This guy actually is an actual guy named Dr. Joseph. Dr. Joseph, he's a psychiatrist. He decided to react to this. He reacted actually like, I don't know, a week or two ago, whenever it was. I forgot when he did it. He reacted to it, but I didn't put it up because it didn't connect with today. So now I'm going to put it up because I think you guys may enjoy it. I'm going to go over a little bit of that, and he's going to react to it. This guy's an actual psychiatrist, so he's an actual licensed by the state, right? An actual guy. He's going to talk about it.
So it was a big day today. We had RFK Jr. go to the Senate confirmation hearing for Secretary of Health, and he was grilled on antidepressants and homicidal behavior, and antidepressants making people dangerous. And so today you're going to hear from a psychiatrist reacting to this. Let's check it out.
In 2024, you blamed school shootings on antidepressants.
Okay, he didn't blame school shootings on antidepressants, not a thing. She made that up, another straw man, because she's the same as them all. I have to insult. Truth does not matter.
You said, and this is a quote, there is no time in American history or human history that kids were going to shoot schools and shooting their classmates. It really started happening coterminous with the introduction of these drugs, with Prozac and with other.
He didn't blame it. He said it goes together.
Drugs. True. So do you believe, as you've said, that antidepressants cause school shootings? This should be a simple question.
I don't think anybody can answer that
They always say it should be a simple question because they want to get the yes or no and yell at them.
question, and I didn't answer that question. I said it should
So your
be
answer
studied.
is.
I said it should be studied along with other potential culprits like
So they may cause.
social media. But I don't know. I would never make, because there's no science on that.
Well,
Senator.
there is, Senator. I mean, there is.
Yeah.
She can't even know. There is guy that I just want to yell at and insult. And here we go. Here he's going to tell you what it is.
Antidepressants can definitely cause school shootings because it's not. Well, let me put it this way. Yes, there hasn't been a clinical trial where they followed a bunch of people and to see, this many people went on to have school shootings and this many people on the placebo didn't have a school shooting.
Yeah, how would they do that? That'd be a tough one to study, wouldn't you? Hey, you guys all might be school shooters. Let's give half of you placebo and half of you, that would be a bad idea.
But it just makes sense that they do, right? Because Right there on the label, it says antidepressants increase the risk of suicidal behavior, particularly in young people.
It says on the label that increases suicidal ideation, particularly in young people. It says on the label. On the label, it says that. And what is every one of these school shootings? As I've told you, as I said on Joe Rogan, as I said on Glenn Beck, as I've said for the past 8 years, what have I said? Every one of these school shootings is actually a public suicide. That's what they actually are. They're public suicides. Says on the label, increases suicidal thoughts in young people. Should we worry about this? No, because they're all making money and they don't mind sacrificing our children. And you think I was joking? I'm not. They literally do not mind sacrificing our children so they can get more cash. This isn't the evil corporations. This is the evil government. The government is doing it.
So what that means is, when you have two groups, group on the drug, group on placebo, the group that gets the drug have a higher rate of suicidal thoughts and suicidal behaviors. Now, the reason for this is because for some people in those groups, it makes them worse. It causes paradoxical reactions. It makes them more depressed. It makes them more agitated.
Yep.
And for some people, it can make them violent. Before you start thinking that I'm taking the black box warning about suicidal behavior out of context, if you also look at the labels for antidepressants, there's a section in there in the warnings of precaution that says antidepressants can cause manic behavior. And we've seen that before. We've had forensic experts. They went and interviewed the Aurora cinema shooter who dressed up in the Batman costume and shot all those people. Yep. And when the forensic expert, Dr. David Healy, went and interviewed him, he was convinced that he was having a manic episode because of a reaction to an antidepressant. But
I thought that the Congresswoman told me no. I thought my representative told me no. And she wanted to insult. I thought Anna said that he was just stupid. Why is he doing this? So the media tells me no. And my comment, what? I don't understand.
When you become manic on an antidepressant, you can go on to do something like a school shooting. The other thing that I would suspect with antidepressants is for some people, they can cause a lot of blunting and disinhibition. So if you're unfortunate enough to react to it in that way, you can become disinhibited and you can also be blunted from the consequences. And that can make people do, things like harm other people through school shootings. But I've also seen it affect relationships. I've seen people break up with their partners or become aggressive before. And so there's a whole manner of ways these medications, when someone has a bad reaction to them, a paradoxical reaction, which are clearly documented on the drug label, that they can go on to do things they wouldn't normally do. So let's keep on going.
It's literally on the label. And this person, who is one of our congresspeople, just wants to grandstand and insult. As is the norm.
The rest of this. And let me just say these are rare. We're talking about rare side effects with people. We're not talking about common things.
The science shows that there is no link between school shootings and antidepressants.
This is classic bull.
The guy says it. I didn't say that. He did. She's literally just lying and making things up. And that's what they all do. Literally, you've seen me do it when I scold my governor. She just makes things up. Just literally makes them up. This one just makes things up. And again, the goal is to insult. That's all that matters. The goal is to dismiss. The goal is to insult and dismiss. So the first thing is, you can't listen to RFK Jr. Why? He's crazy. So therefore, everything he says does not matter. That's it. Everything he says does not matter. That's all. No, that's all it takes. Just call him crazy. You can now ignore him. So now it doesn't matter what he says. So she obviously is correct because she's the insulter. This is why I always bring up, where is your answer? Do you have one, or are you just insulting? And it's always just insulting. That's the issue. That's the issue. Kate, thank you so much for being a member and also for the $4.99. Where do you go for your RFK Jr. news/updates? He doesn't tweet much. Well, there are two places you can go. One is right here because I get them all the time. For those who don't know, I worked for the Super PAC that helped him when he was an independent candidate to raise money for him and supported him through this, even through the end. So I get a lot, that's for sure. But also, see if I can find the actual, I know who she, but I actually want to make sure I get her. I want to make sure that I get her actual, see if I can find it. I can get her actual, where am I? Her specific one here. What is her actual? It is, hold on, I got to find it. And now, of course, I can't find it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real fast. I want to find the actual, what her actual handle is on. All right, I will get you the actual handle. There's a handle you can go to. One of the probably the easiest handles to go to before you is probably Holden Collada. He does a lot, right? If you check him out on Twitter, go to Twitter. It is he's probably the easiest one, and others will be around him too. HOLDENCULOTTA. Go to Holden Collada on and it's underscore Holden underscore Collada on Twitter, on X, and you'll get most of them there. That's probably the best place you can get it. So that's probably the best one. I hope that was clear. So
science shows, as if you're going like, what science is she talking about? This is standard, trust the science speak. When when there's something unpopular to the powers that be, whether it's a pharmaceutical company or someone who's getting donations from them, or someone who's just partisan to a particular issue, maybe for political reasons, they'll just like wave science shows at you. But there's no science on school shootings and antidepressants, or no reliable science. It's such a rare event. You have to look at it at the level of an individual case and through inference, right? And that's why, when you look at the fact that it's widely recognized that these drugs make people unexpectedly suicidal in some instances, it's not a leap of the imagination that they could make people violent. And so she's just kind of waving the science wand out there, just essentially saying, trust me.
And the funny part is, it's just trust me, trust the science. Her science is trust me, bro. Bruh, trust me. That's her science. Sadly, that's most of them. Most of them what happens is to be forward, and I say this all the time, these Congress people don't have policy teams. That's not a thing. People always say, Larry, how do you get so many interesting, good policies? Because when I put a policy team together, I get some of the best people in the country. I'm not joking when I say that. I get people who come to me and talk to me about policy. Why? Because no one else who's running has a policy team. What they have is a communications team. Well, Larry, where do you get their policies from? The party gives them the policies. They don't think for themselves. I'm not joking. They don't have policy teams. So they either have individuals who work for the party who tell them, this is your policy because you're a Republican or Democrat, or they have think tanks who say, here is your policy because this think tank is Republican or Democrat. Most of them have that. Here's your policies. I wish I was joking. Again, I'm not joking. I actually have to create new policies because I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. So I have to actually create more policies. So I've had a lot of people who you probably know of who've come talk to me and chatted with us about how to build policies out. Yeah, so that's how I know policies. She doesn't have a policy team. She doesn't know what's true or not. She has no idea. She doesn't care. Her communications team gave her talking points. That's why you see all these guys just looking down and reading. Chuck Schumer doesn't talk. I just talk to you. No notes, live. I talk to you. Right? They don't. They read what their communications team gave them. That's what she did. She's reading it. She doesn't know if it's true or not. She has no idea if it's real. She just assumes it is because, her 26-year-old intern or whatever gave it to her and said, read this. She went, where'd it come from? Came from Nancy Pelosi. Done. I'll read it. Done and done. That's it. That's how it actually works. So Joel says, here's your narrative. I mean policy. Accurate. That is an accurate statement, Joel. Nicely done.
It's a load of BS.
And in fact, most school shooters were not even treated with antidepressants. And of those that were, there was no evidence of
that's literally a lot.
Association.
I don't think you
My
can
question
say that,
is,
Senator, because of HIPAA rules, nobody knows.
well,
Thank you. You can't say that.
Mr. Kennedy, do you think that people who take
She just goes, look, no. And what is she doing? Is she even looking at him? No. She's not even looking at him. She doesn't care what he says. This is just show. This is just so she can insult. She's not even looking at him. And sadly, she's a senator in America. She's an embarrassment. You wonder why I hate government so much. Because dingbats like her are filled with, our government's filled with them. What I always call them. Oh, I say things like brain dead chimps, dung throwing chimps. I say it all the time because most of them are that. This is who we're supposed to respect. If I knew her as a friend, I probably wouldn't take her phone call because she'd just be telling me some stupid shit I don't want to hear. I probably would ignore her. If like she was my neighbor, I'd probably wave at her. I would cross the street. If she was in my neighborhood, because I wouldn't want to hear her yap her stupid stuff. I'd go cross and go, oh yeah, I got to go. I would lie and say I have to rush to go shopping because I wouldn't want to talk to her. And this woman is our senator. And the government, not just her, it's filled people just like this. There are so few people who aren't like her. It's an embarrassment.
Antidepressants are dangerous.
I think, listen, I'm not going.
This is kind of a crazy question. Do you think people who take antidepressants are dangerous? No, they're not. I mean, most people who take antidepressants react to them in the normal way. They experience they're experiencing a therapeutic level of emotional dampening or blunting, or maybe a little bit of energy boosting, or maybe some sleep promotion, and they function just fine. The whole issue with unexpected violent behavior or...
And that's the point we're trying to get at, right? He's correct. I know lots of people who are on some form of SSRI. Tons of them. I know lots of them. They're not violent. They're nothing like this at all. Nothing, right? And if they're jerks, they're jerks because they're jerks, not because they're on SSRIs. But that's just who they are. All good. But there's a group of youngsters who are clearly affected negatively like this. So why wouldn't you want to research and see why? And maybe there's a genetic marker. I have no idea if there is, but maybe there's a genetic marker. Maybe there's a certain age group. Maybe there's a certain test you can take. I don't know that. No one knows that. He says he doesn't know that. But why aren't we looking? Maybe there's a test you can take and go, oh, you have this thing, whatever this thing is. You shouldn't take SSRIs because you're more likely to be manic or not. Or maybe even as activities we could notice. Oh, someone's having activities or something. We should stop them from doing it. Any of those things could be true. Have we dealt with any of it? No. Because she gets tons of money from pharmaceutical companies. So why would she? I'm looking over at Rumble. Straight End says, Dr. Eric Berg has a video this week talking about nursing homes giving an average of 48 meds per day. Wow. I like Eric Berg, by the way. He also, Straight End, those who don't know, Dr. Eric Berg, if you check him out, also says keto is the right answer. Because again, keto cures everything. So in any case, so Straight End, thank you for that. 48, I'm not surprised. I think they want everyone to take a dozen or more a day. They want that. I mean, how much money is that? If that's just, I mean, how many people are in nursing homes? I mean, imagine how many are in nursing homes. I mean, millions are nursing homes, right? So if they just make 50 cents on a pill, 50 cents. So $24 a day times what? 1 million people? 24 million bucks a day? I like that. I made those numbers up. I have no idea. But I'm just saying, imagine that. That's how much you can make on this. Of course, if I make that kind of money, I will throw so much money to buy my senators, to buy my congressmen. Why wouldn't you? I'm making that kind of cash. I got money to burn. I'll buy a couple senators, buy a couple dozen congressmen. Why not? So I can keep making $24 million a day? Yeah, I'll buy a couple of them. What are you going to call it? Couple $1 million? Whatever. Make that in a day. Make that in a day. Throw it at him. All good. Make that in a day. I made that up on Tuesday. Take it. Now I bought a couple senators. I bought a couple congressmen. And here's what I get. Of course. And that's just that. Imagine other people who are taking them. Now, again, I'm going to be very clear. He's not talking about, no one's talking about ending them. That's not a thing. And everyone's admitting and saying openly and accepting that the vast majority of people who are on any of these are not violent. But there's a correlation and there's an issue. So why don't we study it? This is not nuts. This is not nuts. Kim, thank you for being a member. She says, I was watching Eric Berg this afternoon. One patient was on 91. Oh my God. 91. Wow. Wow. That's insane. 91. God, I want you to be lying, Kim. Like, I want you to be lying. I don't want that to be true. Right? I'm not saying you're lying. I don't like it. So it bothers me so much. I want you to be lying. I want you to go back and go, just kidding, Larry. It wasn't 91. I want you to do that. Please don't. If it's true, please don't. But I'm just saying that sounds so bad. I want you to be lying. Wow. Okay. You threw me for that one, Kim. Let me keep 91 blows my mind. I tell this story often because I was shocked on how bothered people were by it. Kim goes on to say, I wish I was. Yeah, we both wish you were, Kim. We both do. And I say it often, but I keep saying this story because it really bothered me. I go to the doctor when I run so that I have medical records in case the media wants to see my medical records, right? Otherwise, I don't go to the doctor. So I just go. I sprained both my ankles 2 days ago. I wrapped them. And that was it. I didn't go to the doctor for that. I just wrapped my ankles and just stayed off of them for 2 days. And that was it. And now I'm almost recovered. Again, keto is magic. It's basically magic powers. Sorry. So I went, last time I went, when I ran in 2022, was the last time I went to the doctor, was 3 years ago. And I went there to get my physical. And as always, I went there and the receptionist said, you forgot to fill out your prescriptions. I said, I don't have any. She went, oh, okay, bum. Now the nurse comes to take me to the doctor. She's grabbing my documents, goes, oh yeah, so you have to put your prescriptions. I said, I don't have any. Huh? None? No, I don't have any. Huh? Okay, sit me down. Doctor comes in. Sir, you have to put your prescriptions down. I don't have any. All three of them could not believe that I had no prescriptions. They couldn't believe it. Of course not, when someone, to Kim's point, has 91. So of course I'm supposed to have at least like 5, right? At least. If someone's got 91, you got to have at least 5, right? Joel says, no prescriptions will fix that. My doctor did. Tried to fix it. I'm not, again, you'll love this story. So the doctor says, Mr. Sharpe, all your numbers are good. They're down. How are you doing it? And I said, well, I'm on keto. And you know what he told me? She said, yeah, you have to, you should probably get on some type of statin. I said, statin? He said, yeah. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, why? She said, well, your diet's not sustainable. I'm not joking. She literally said, your diet is not sustainable. So take a drug. Now, I had no problems, Joel. It wasn't like I had a problem. So she saw the problem and then said, oh, you have a problem. You should have a drug to fix your problem. She said, you're doing fine, but your diet's not sustainable. And at that point, I've been doing keto for 12 years. At that point, when she said that, I had been doing keto for 12 years. And now it's been 15. So it wasn't sustainable for 12 years. Anyway, Kim, look at you killing it. 64, 0 prescriptions. See that? Me and you. Absolutely. So yeah, I do love that story. I know I tell it often. If you've been watching, you probably heard it before. She actually said that my diet's not sustainable, even though I was on it for 12 years and I had no problems. She wanted to put me on a prescription. So Joel, you read that perfectly. You were correct. She was trying to fix it. Yes. And to be forward, I don't think she was trying to be a bad doctor. Like, I don't think she was like, oh, I'm evil and mean. I think she honestly believed it. I think she had probably seen people go on diets and fail, right? I think that's it. That's my assumption. And I think she just thought, well, no one does it that I see who keep coming in here. So I want to be preventive. I don't think she was trying to be mean. I think she honestly believed it.
Suicidal behavior on these meds is that these are rare side effects. These are paradoxical reactions, quite like when you get a group of people together and they're smoking marijuana. You could have one person who becomes paranoid while the rest of the group is laughing, having a good time. There are simply some people who don't respond to these meds
There we
in
go.
typical ways, and when they respond in an atypical way, sometimes it leads to violence.
Into HHS.
And that's the whole point. So let's figure out how that works. There may be an easy way to figure out, oh, this person is not going to work well, so let's not do that for them.
If I'm privileged to be confirmed with any,
So you can't say that people
to
who,
impose any preconceived ideas that I may have. I just want to have
Okay,
good science.
so you're not saying that they aren't dangerous, which means that they could
I've
be
said-
dangerous. Let me ask you this.
That's
You
not
just,
true.
Yeah, they could be dangerous. Yes, that's true.
They could be dangerous. They absolutely could be dangerous.
Yes.
Anyone that tries to tell you that antidepressants, safe and effective, blanket statement, run for the hills. I mean, this is someone who's clearly partisan. You know, they have an agenda. They want to be part of the, you know, these drugs are safe and effective. Don't look here, never question them. They don't really have your best interests in mind.
And there's the key, what he just said. They don't have your best interests in mind. So what do? They literally attack Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is actively saying, not saying ban them, not saying that, saying, can we test it out to see why there are some people who go off and shoot up schools who are on them? Can we just research it and see? Can we see if there's another way of dealing with these issues, right? Another of these issues other than a drug. Can we just do that too? Is that so horrible? Yes, because Kim, you're going to give me nightmares. 91. Okay, Kim, I guess it's fair. I gave you Hochul nightmares, so you're giving me 91 med nightmares. I guess it's just, okay, it's fair. So yes, but you're giving me nightmares over this. Because how else am I going to give somebody 91 meds a day? I got to make sure that's the case. 91.
True.
you've described Americans who take mental health medications as addicts who need to be sent to wellness farms to recover. Is that what you believe?
No, of course I didn't say that
Yes, you did.
He never said that. What he said is, why don't we create wellness farms for people who want to get off the drugs? Yes, it is a form. It is a form of addiction therapy. Yes, withdrawal symptoms. Yes. How do you get past it? I know this. All right. If you have had an addict in your life, I've had one, then you know how bad withdrawal symptoms are. You know how bad it is. You know that what they need is support structure. For those of you who like 12-step programs and things like that, 12-step programs aren't magic. Only keto's magic. 12-step programs aren't magic, but they do work. Why? Well, they work because, they work because it's a support system. And sometimes 12-step programs fail horribly. Why? Because they're bad? No, because sometimes you find a specific group that is a 12-step program that is actually not serious. So if any of you've done that before and gone out there and gone to 12-step programs, you know that some of them are terrible. Not because the program is bad, because the people who are running it are using it as a crutch so they can go back to their drug. Now, again, that's individual people. Those programs clearly will fail because in that case, there's no actual support. It's just people using the system so they can get back into their drug and act like they want to change when they actually don't. Again, and that's completely dependent upon the individual program and the people running it. But any program, 12-step program, your own family, church groups, if they're actual support structures, you can find people who can help you and you have a better chance of kicking your habit or getting through your withdrawal. It can happen if you have support. One of the ways people do it sometimes is moving people away from the things that trigger them. What would that be? Going out to a camp, going out to a retreat where you're away from the triggers that make it happen. I remember my mom had been clean for years, many years. And some of you will get this completely. And we're watching some movie, her and I together. My mom and I had a very good relationship her last few years, a very good relationship. We were very close. And we're watching some movie together. And in the movie that we're watching, someone starts doing drugs. And she looks at me and she says, Larry, I can smell it. What she told me. This had been years that she had been clean. She looked over me and she said, Larry, I can smell it. It was on TV. That's how strong the triggers are. So here comes Kennedy saying, hey, watch out to these wellness farms. Get away from these areas. Have good food, solid food, work, purpose, friendship, community. You can have community and friendship. And she's like, you want to send these people to farms? She's an idiot. And this is one of our senators.
They should be compelled to do anything.
No, but you said they should be sent.
No, they should go if they want to, you moron.
I said they should be available to them. I didn't say they should be sent.
You said that folks that take antidepressants are like addicts. That I can provide that.
Oh, I think they should have the availability. Listen, I know people, including members of my family, who've had a much worse time getting off of SSRIs than they did than people have getting off of heroin. It's the withdrawal period is, I mean, and it's written on the label.
Yeah, it's on the label. Even he says it too. It's on the label. It's on the label. Yes. Phil says, you want to send people to camps, dumb senator. Yes, accurate. Her Senator Ms. Smith, she's a knucklehead, but yes, she is. Andrea says, animals can also be very therapeutic for many people. So a farm makes sense to me. Yes, for some people, right? For some people, animals will be a wonderful, you're totally right, Andrea. There would be a wonderful way of helping people out, of having them to cope, to deal with their withdrawal symptoms. Why would you stop this? Why would you stop this? Kim goes on to say, thank you for being a member, Kim. Nicotine I overcame over 30 years ago. I've dreamt about smoking in the past 3 years and a paying for a cigarette in the past year. Yes. I'm sure something triggered that, Kim, whatever that thing was. Of course. It's human nature. It's how it works. Cheyenne, thank you for being a member. This is why the Dems are losing people like me, because they twist words to put them in people's mouths and demonize them. The reason is what Larry said, no solutions. Yes, there are no solutions. It's just insult. Insult. And here's the worst part, Cheyenne. The worst part is it hasn't worked. Whether you like or hate Trump, Trump has broken them of this because Trump did not care. Trump and RFK Jr., those two people, while they are very different in how they think and how they react, there's one thing they're exactly the same at, which is tenacity. You can beat them up, yell at them, scream at them, call them names, and they keep coming. And they keep coming. They don't stop. You insult them, they keep coming. You call them names, they keep coming. Now, RFK Jr. is much nicer. He has conversations. Trump just counter insults and just insults you even worse, right? I would rather be more like RFK Jr. I would rather be more like him. But sometimes I can become Trump-like too. But I aspire. How about that? Is that a good word? I aspire to be more like RFK Jr., to be nicer. He's much nicer than Trump is. Trump is much more of a counterpuncher, much more. RFK tries to dodge and weave. Trump is much more of a counterpuncher. And he's a strong counterpuncher. And I get it. I want to be a counterpuncher too, but I also want to be able to dodge and weave also. I want to be able to do both if I can. But these guys are tenacious. So you just keep demonizing them. You just keep insulting them and they don't care. They keep going. It doesn't work. How they literally called Trump Hitler. They called Republicans Nazis, all the things. And he's still president. And RFK Jr. is head of HHS. It didn't work. So you might say, Larry, if it doesn't work, why are they still doing it? Why is Anna Kasparian insulting him? Why is Idiot Smith, Senator Idiot Smith, insulting? They have no other tools, Shane. They have no answers. They have no other tools. That's all they know. How do I know that? Literally, again, Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats in Congress, said, I don't know what tools we have. He says his words, not mine. Again, you know, I quote them. This is not me putting words in their mouth. They're like, I don't know what kind of leverage we got. Do we have any tools? I don't know. It's like, all we know is insulting. That ain't working. Now what? I don't know. He has no idea. Chuck Schumer, we forgot what he said. He just started screaming and yelling, calling them names. I don't know. Let's just call them names, see if that'll work. It hasn't worked. It still isn't working. It's terrible. Yes. So Daniel, thank you for being a member, says legalize weed, easy solution. Look, legalizing weed isn't a magical pill either, to be forward, Daniel. Liberty Death says decriminalize weed. I'll buy. That's better, actually, Liberty Death. That's actually better. But I would take either if we did it right. We did terribly in New York State. But yes, either way, I want to be clear, though. It's not a magic pill. In certain cases, an opioid or an SSRI is going to be the right answer, right? It depends. But I want to give people the option of a cannabis product. I think that's absolutely true. I would bet for a whole lot of people, a cannabis product could satisfy what an opioid does. Not every case, but I'm sure it could many. And also what SSRI does. I'm sure there's a cannabis product that could solve a bunch of those issues, but it's not a magic pill. And people feel like it's a magic pill. It's not. But will it make things better? Yes. And for many reasons. One, some people won't pick an SSRI to deal with their issues. They would pick a cannabis product. So off the bat, we're better off. Others, people wouldn't pick an opioid product. They'd pick a cannabis product, and that problem would be solved. But more importantly, if you are an SSRI or if you are on an opioid and you now want to get off of it for whatever reason, whether you feel like you need any more or your pain has gone away, whatever the case may be, using cannabis products, this is documented. There's science on this one. I think you guys know this. Using a cannabis product can make your withdrawal symptoms better and easier, which gives you a better chance of kicking your habit. So yes, on both of those, I agree completely. I'm just saying it is not a magic pill. It is a great answer that makes things better. So yes. Kim, thank you so much for being a member. As always, says best place to stay away from is the doctor's office. Yes. 20 years ago, I woke up in the doctor's office, third doctor's office in the same week. They were milking my insurance and I stopped going, gave them back their dope, quit drinking beer. Yes. Look, I'm not mad at the doctors for this. I know some people are. I'm not. The doctors are stuck in a system that we've created that I've been trying to break and been given answers for it for a long time, to where the only way they make money is if they milk the insurance company. That's how they survive. That's the system we've given them, except for the wealthy. The wealthy all go to private doctors. Private doctors, they don't care about insurance because you pay straight up. And they fill up I mean, it's going to cost you $300, $250 to go sometimes. Depends on where you go. I'm at Manhattan prices. In fact, more. In fact, I was talking to, I was talking to Sam Cedar from the Majority Report. And he's talking about Medicare for all. And I said, you don't want Medicare for all. You go to private doctors. I don't know the guy. He's like a friend. I don't know him, but I know he's wealthy. So that's how he's wealthy and in New York. If you're wealthy and in New York, you go to private doctors. That's how it works. He's wealthy. He's in New York. He doesn't go to a doctor that takes insurance. That's not a thing in New York City. That's if you're wealthy. That's not a thing. Nobody wealthy goes to a doctor who takes insurance. That's not how New York City works. New York City has a two-tiered system. If you're wealthy, you go to private doctors. If you're not, you go to whatever doctor you can get your hands on. That's how that works. So I told him, I said, you don't go to private, you go to private doctors. He goes, I do. He said it. He openly said it. He goes, you're going to spend $1,000. I'm like, damn, you spend $1,000 on your doctor? Your doctor's more expensive than mine. Damn, you're expensive. So yes, he goes to private doctors. So your point is absolutely correct. I just don't blame the doctors. I blame the system. If we change the system, doctors will change. And again, you see it because it's in a two-tier system. If you're wealthy, you get the doc. You can just, if you're wealthy, you just call your doctor up and say, I want to come in today. Imagine doing that on insurance. Can't. They say, what time you got? How about 3:15? Okay, come in. You come in, swipe your credit card, you get seen by the doctor. That's how it works. Wouldn't that be nice? When you're wealthy in New York City, that's how it works. So yes, absolutely. So Michael says Medicare/Medicaid for the plebes, the poors. Yes. Accurate. Yes, absolutely. Kate says cannabis distracts you from pain and anxiety, short term. Some available with 0 THC. Over-the-counter CBD creams work wonders for arthritis. Yeah, I think you want people to have, exactly, Kate, those options, right? Look, if you're like, I don't know, a cancer patient or something, I'm making that up, but something like that, there is no cannabis products probably aren't going to work for you, right? Right? Probably not. They're going to work you're going to need an opioid if it's that kind of thing, right? You probably are. But that's okay. You should have the option, okay? Because maybe like, I don't care. I don't want to be in an opioid. So I'm going to take cannabis. And if it doesn't deal with my pain enough, I'm okay with that. Again, your issue, you deal with it as you see fit. Phil remembers Medicare for y'all. That's correct. It's not Medicare for all. It's Medicare for y'all. Not all. I'm not taking that. That's what every senator says. I ain't taking that. You guys could take that. That's the issue. Daniel says, what's the difference between legalizing and decriminalizing? Decriminalizing means you just go, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. Daniel asked the question, what's the difference between legalizing and decriminalizing? Decriminalizing means just do it. I'm not heavily regulating it. I'm not making licensing for it. Just do it. It's like I said, regulate it like onions. That was the thing I said in 2018. For those who don't remember, in 2018 when I was running, I was in Western New York when people were asking about about cannabis. And when I was in Western New York, we grow onions. So again, if you're not in New York, you may not know that, but we grow a lot of things in Western New York. One of the things we grow is onions. So when I was in Western New York, I was talking about, this. And then like, well, how would you regulate it? I said, regulate it like onions. And that's where it came from. And that kind of stuck. And the idea was, it's a plant. Regulate it like a plant. Is there high regulation on onions? Actually, in New York State, relative to other things, it is kind of highly regulated relative to vegetables. But I would take that regulation as a relatively highly regulated vegetable. I would take that over, I got to have a license. I can only be in this area, blah, 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 blah. That's the difference between legalizing and decriminalizing. It's always better, if possible, to decriminalize. But I would take good legalization. I would take it. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. All right. Let me get back because she has so many great things to say. I know I kind of walked off of her, but she has great things to say. I'm kidding, obviously.
It's absolutely brutal. I mean, this is what I do day in, day out. I help people come off these medications. Sometimes when they come off them, it causes brain damage that takes some people years to recover from.
Yep.
And for others who've been on them for decades who aren't hurt, when we try and withdraw them, honestly, it takes 1 to 2 years to get them off. If you want to do it in a way where they're not at risk of having any brain damage, and you don't want them to have such severe withdrawal symptoms that it impacts their job. Yeah, we're talking about rewinding decades.
Look at what he just said. He didn't say we have to worry about this because they're going to die. He said literally, we don't want to affect their job. We'd like the person to pay his bills. I agree. How about we let people pay their bills? That's not a crazy thing, is it? It's not nutty at all. And that's what he's talking about. Yes. If I could, I do want to grab a couple from Rumble. Joel says, Dr. Casey Means explained it was just what they did, just what they are taught. Yes, that's what they're taught, right? I don't think the doctors are being mean or bad. They're doing what they're taught. They're doing what the system tells them. I think Joel is exactly correct. I'm not mad at them. We have to change the system. Change the system, and then the doctors will change, right? That's really the key.
Of your brain adapting to a medication and building around it, it can take a really long time to come off these meds. If this has happened to you, I want to hear about it in the comments below, okay?
There we go. Kate asked, did Larry answer my super chat question about Kennedy News? I did. What I think is probably the best one on Twitter, and I'll say it again in case, it is Holden Culotta, HOLDEN, right? He's Holden EN, yes, _ Culotta, CULOTTA. Holden stays up to date and posts stuff on Twitter multiple times a day. Multiple times a day, Kate. That's who you want to go to on Twitter. I know him. We used to work together last year. He posts multiple times a day. There are others too, but you'll see if you follow his feed will show you who else to follow. Just go to his feed. You'll be fine. You'll get all the most updated stuff. He'll reach out to me often. That's how I get stuff. I also follow him, so I'll see what happens there too. That's how it is. So go to Holden _ Culotta. That's it. So, all right.
I have some
This is
experience
very well
with this
documented.
myself, Mr. Kennedy. This is personal for me. When I was a young woman and I was struggling with depression, thankfully, I had the resources to help me get through it, including a new generation of SSRI uptake inhibitors, which help to clear my mind, get me back on track to being a mom and a wife and a productive,
You better take something else, because that shit ain't working.
happy person. And I'm really grateful for that therapy. So I have
Okay, you are not a happy person. I don't know what you fooling yourself.
some experience with this. And I think that everyone should have access to that care. And your job as secretary is to.
I don't think he's saying people shouldn't have access to
Never said
medications
that.
if they want to. I think he's trying to bring attention to the fact that, maybe in the past, these medications can cause paradoxical reactions that can make people violent. I believe that's totally true. And secondly, that it's no small thing to get on an antidepressant, because once you're on it, it can be incredibly difficult to come off. So
Yep.
I'm not sure where she's getting at saying he wants to restrict access to antidepressants. I think he's wanting there to be more honest information about them out there.
There we go. Phil says, yeah, I lived through a school shooting where the shooter was on SSRIs. There we go. This needs to be looked into. Yes, absolutely. It needs to be looked into. I haven't seen one person say nobody should have them. They don't help anybody. No one said that. She's just making this up. She's straw man it is tomorrow. Nobody said that. All we're saying is clearly there are issues. Let's figure it out. That's not crazy. And what is it
to
before?
Expand access to care, not to spread lies and misinformation. And the thing.
And she's looking down to say this. She's trying to act like she's passionate. But why are you looking down? If you honestly cared about this, if you weren't just a mouthpiece for your donor base, if you weren't, Ms. Smith, Senator Smith, if you weren't just a mouthpiece for your donors, you could just speak from the heart. But is there a heart there? I'm not sure there is. I don't know if there is.
Is that you say, Mr. Kennedy?
Lies and misinformation. Again, I don't think what he's sharing are lies and misinformation. Yes, antidepressant withdrawal is brutal. Yes, antidepressants can make people violent. And we just see this, whether it's with medical leaders or people who have an agenda about this, or people in bed with the pharmaceutical industry because they're getting funding from them. That's what they'll say. If you say something that goes against a drug, they'll start to say it's misinformation, and then they attack you. They'll say, well, you're trying to stigmatize people. You're trying to scare people away from these medications. You're the risk. You're going to make people suicidal.
Okay, here's to remember. Should you scare people away from some of these medications? Yes. Yes. You should give people options and choices. 80%, if not more, of all of our addicts in America started from a prescription drug. 80%. You should be afraid. Yes, you should be afraid. Why would you even say that? Michael says, Lexapro is addictive. I have to be very careful with my dosage. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It's so obvious. Here, Phil says, we know from the opioid crisis that prescriptions can be a gateway drug. Correct. This is nothing we're making up. That's absolutely true. Andrea says, Zoloft made me feel nothing at all. No sadness, but no love, happiness, or empathy. I'm going to share something now. I'm going to be generic because I don't want necessarily to obviously say who the person is. There was someone who was very close to me. And I love this person. And this person was on one of those that you're talking about, Andrea. And this person became numb. Numb. Without it, this person could be very mercurial. Sometimes very angry, sometimes very happy, sometimes very sad. But I like this person more that way than numb. So I asked this person to stop. And because of my experience with my mother, I was able to assist this person in stopping. And it was very hard. It was very hard. This person basically went through withdrawal. I've been there before. And some of you who have addicts in your life, you've been there before too. You know what I'm talking about. It was challenging. And it wasn't like this person was on, for 3 years. It was more like 3 months or like that, more like that. At one point I was like, I don't actually know who you are. You are numb. That was my way. You said feel nothing at all. I just said numb. And I would rather this person be their personality. That was my view. And I helped this person to get off of that. So I get that completely, Andrea. For some people, again, why can't we research this? For some people, you take one of these and you're good. It makes you better. It makes you more comfortable in your own skin. You feel better. For many people. And for some people, you feel numb. You feel nothing. Probably not the right one for you. And for others, you're going to be violent. Okay. Why do we just keep giving them without figuring this stuff out? So I still don't know how to pronounce this one. Is it Cody? I don't know how to pronounce this now. I'm sorry, I messed it up. If our healthcare system were not a corporate profit center, we'd have fewer problems. What I would say if it wasn't an oligarchy, that's what I would say. But it being a profit center literally has less problems. But it has to not be an oligarchy. How do I know this, right? Oh, you just said, no. Because the wealthy have a for-profit model, and it works way better than the government model. So it can't be an oligarchy. It's got to be much more of an individual doctor's offices, smaller businesses, people who care, things like that. It's got to be that style, which we have walked away from. The most of the people who are the happiest with their healthcare. Now, people always tell me, people love Medicare. That's not true. People love Medicaid. That's not true. They love it compared to nothing. They love it compared to nothing. That's true. I have nothing or I have Medicare. Love Medicare. I have nothing or I have Medicaid. Love Medicaid. Of course. But if I said you can have Medicaid or Medicare, or you can go to any private doctor you want, nobody goes, I'll stick with Medicaid. Nobody does that. They go, wait a minute, I can go to private doctors? Yeah. Okay. So if you could make it the same or cheap or like that for private doctors, if you could do that, everybody would want that. So it isn't the corporate profit center piece. It's the oligarchy piece. That's the issue. If you actually had a more decentralized piece, you actually could have everything being a whole lot better. In fact, some people, even in the private sector who go to private doctors, are starting to get upset because that's starting to get, because of private equity firms, they've been investing in buying up doctors' offices and turning them all into private because the doctors can't survive. The doctors can't survive on Medicare, Medicaid. And in places like New York State, over 50% of all New Yorkers are either on Medicare or Medicaid. Over 50% are. So the doctors can't survive on it. So they go, I can't survive on it. So in comes private equity firm and goes, hey, you're in debt? Yeah. You're unhappy? Yeah. Don't worry. I'll buy you. What? I'll buy you. I'll make you a private one. I'll pay you a salary. Don't worry about it. I'll turn it into a private one. We'll make tons of money. You'll be fine. And they go, okay. And that's what's happening now. So because we have a crappy Medicare, Medicaid system, not because we have a profit center system, because we don't have that. Instead, these private doctors are now being bought by private equity. Go, I'll pay your debts off. Don't worry about it. I'll give you a salary. You don't own it anymore. I own it now as a private equity firm. And we're going to turn it into private and we'll make a killing on private stuff. And that's how it works. And they stop taking insurance. Now, you might go, Larry, they stop taking insurance? Yes, they stop taking insurance. Well, Larry, that makes it harder for the regular people. Yes, because our system sucks. Because our system sucks. Then you might go, wait a minute, Larry. But you're saying you want to make it more privatized. Yes. Because if you look at every single example in the healthcare system, the profit center part of it, which is actually non-essential, right? Non-essential healthcare. Things like LASIK eye surgery, body enhancements, cosmetic dentistry. These are all totally profit centers, totally capitalistic. And in every single case, with zero exception, in those things not run by government, accessibility has been better and better over time. Price has come down. Service has gotten better. In every single case, no exception. Run by the government, not corporate, In every single case, no exception, price has gotten higher, service has gotten worse, accessibility gone down. I don't think you can say it's because corporate profit center. The data just does not show that. The data does not show that. It's just not true. So, Fahim, thank you, my friend, for $49. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate it tremendously. I'm doing my best to keep this working. You are the best, my friend. I do appreciate that. So, guys, if you want to follow Fahim, you want to get this stuff right to the front, you can. You can super chat me on YouTube whenever you feel. If you're on YouTube, you can rant me on Rumble. It gets what you're saying right to the front. That's what I'm trying to achieve. But no matter what, for free, like, button, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, that is free. Feel free to do that if you want to. If you have not reshared this or reposted this, please do so now. Every reshare counts. Every repost counts. It does matter. Please do so. If you have subscribed to me on YouTube, you can do that also. Click the all notifications so you get notified. Please follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. All of them if you can. It does matter. Membership matters too if you can. $49 per month. You can click that join button on YouTube, or $49, click that subscribe button on Rumble. Any of those do matter. So thank you again for that. I appreciate it. So, all right. I hope I covered a bunch of things. I hope I covered enough for you guys. I do want to get a couple more of these if I can. All righty. Michael says, so can we have summer camps with weed? That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I'm kind of in there. There we go. So, all righty. Let's see if I can do this here with my gentleman. He has a couple more things he wants to cover, and then we'll be done with him. And I have one more thing I want to show you.
And that's just a tactic that they use.
They live on. They have impact. And, we're having this conversation at the same moment that my Republican colleagues are looking to try to figure out how to save money any way they can. And so they want to cut Medicaid. Let's just think about this for a minute, because should you be confirmed, you would be responsible for CMS, which provides.
She literally said, you're going to be, and then stopped and said, should you be? Why? She knew the entire time he was going to be confirmed. So why'd she go through this? Right? She told on herself, because they always self-report. They always self-report. She told on herself. And she said, you're going to be, you might be. She knew he was going to become the HSS director. She knew it. So why is she doing this? She's just grandstanding. Yet again, look at her looking down and reading the entire time. She doesn't believe any of this. She doesn't care. She's reading the entire time. Is Bobby Kennedy Jr. reading something? Is he reading some prepared statement? No. He's just answering questions. Yes. Ray from nowhere, thank you for the $5, my friend. You're from nowhere, but that's nice. I just got $5 from nowhere. So thank you for that. That's amazing. So, all right.
Mental and behavioral health care to millions of Americans. Close to 40% of folks on Medicaid have a behavioral health condition. And you would be
40%. Listen to how dumb she is. 40% is her words of people on Medicaid have a behavioral issue. Right? Is that what she said? Let me get her words exactly correct, because they're really dumb. So let me make sure I get it right. See if I make sure I get her dumb words right.
Mental health condition. And you would.
Oh, sorry. Mental health condition is what she says.
Folks on Medicaid have a behavioral health condition. And you would be part of this administration.
So 40% of people on Medicaid have a behavioral health condition. And he's like, let's figure out what's wrong. She's like, don't do that. Just give them more drugs. Her answer is literally, give her more drugs. She's supposed to look at her face. She's saying, give her more drugs. And she's smug about it. She's literally smug, saying, what's wrong with you? Trying to understand why that's true. Just give them more drugs. Let them eat cake. What is wrong with you? The psychiatrist to the side is like, I can't believe she's saying that. This woman is a moron. And she's one of our senators.
That would be looking to cut Medicaid. So, Mr. Kennedy, these statements that you've made linking antidepressants to school shootings, they reinforce the stigma that people who experience mental health every day face every single day. And
okay, that's not a thing. She made that up. That's not a thing. She is so accustomed in her life to just deciding to be a victim. I'm not joking. That she assumes that anytime you say anything, it means you're stigmatizing, making people victims. It's utterly not true. That's not a thing. Everybody watching this right now, everybody listening to this right now, either you or someone you know is on some form of SSRI. Guaranteed. Either you or someone you know. Where's the stigma? It's not a thing. It's not a thing. You can go to any doctor and get prescribed that if you think you need it. It's not a thing. You can see them advertised on TV. Well, I'll cover that in a second also. Everywhere. It's not stigmatized. She made this up. It's absolutely not true. It's just pretending to be a victim. It's not a thing.
I'm very concerned.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see RFK Jr. going out there saying, if you take antidepressants, you're weak. You should be ashamed of yourself.
No one's saying that.
And I'm going to now shame you away from taking these medications.
The only people shaming are these idiot Democratic senators. No one else is shaming but them. This is the pot calling the kettle black. I'm going to shame everybody by saying you're shaming everybody when you're not shaming anybody.
In fact, what he's talking about is informed consent. He's talking about
Done.
having honest conversations about the roles that these medications can have in these things. And yeah, I do think, I mean, I haven't seen him talk about school shootings, but I don't think he's ever said that if you get on these drugs, you're going to harm people. But I do believe that in rare instances, it can cause that. And so I think it's completely unfair to say that because he's talking about these things that he's trying to limit access to care. I think what he's trying to do, and I think what we all have a responsibility to do who know about these drugs, is to give people accurate information about them.
Yes.
So they can make the right decisions. They should be told, hey, there's a very rare chance that if you get on this medication, you could have an adverse behavioral reaction. It could make you suicidal. It could even, in rare instances, make you violent. And let's have people watch you, keep an eye on you, make sure nothing like that's going to happen. It's super.
And he's the crazy one, right? He's the crazy one, not her. Not her. Ryan, thank you for being a member. Larry, the senator can't possibly from the heart. She doesn't have one. Correct. Yes. Accurate. Andrea says it, informed consent. 100%. Kim says, yes, steer them to more natural ways and a better diet. Good organic food is a body good. Yes, look, I'm not saying everyone can be cured by that. I don't know. But he's right. You're right. Why aren't we talking about it? Why isn't it a thing? Absolutely. So, Ray from nowhere, thank you for the $5. I should have known the jab was Big Pharma / government scheme when they gave it to natives first through IH. Oh, is that true? I didn't know that. Wow. I did not know that. He goes on to say, I'm in Oneida. I live here on the reservation. Oh, my spotting sensor should have sniffed out the grift when we got the Moderna shot before the cops and the elderly. I did not know that, Ray. Wow. Those who don't know, that is a county in upstate New York, and Oneida is actually also a tribe in New York. So yes, I do appreciate that, Ray. Thank you. You're not from nowhere. You're from Oneida, which is fine. Yes, but thank you for that. I do appreciate that. I did not know that to be true. I'm going to do some homework on that. That was something I never heard. So now I have homework to do. So there we go. All righty. Christy says, I was in the ER recently getting treated for vertigo. They gave me an IV medication that made me feel really mad and impatient. I don't know what it was. If a medication is mind altering, it's probably not good. Interesting point. I hope they told you. Ingrid says, healthcare is a human right. It cannot be a human right. It cannot be. And let me explain why. If you say it's a human right, here is what will actually happen. Just be clear. And I have evidence of this. I never say anything that I don't have evidence to it. When you just make something a right, when you just do it, and that right requires someone else's labor, right? When it's not just like, I have a right to exist. When it requires someone's labor, what you do is you make it more expensive. That's all you do, which means you lower the quality every single time. That's how it works. How do I know that? Because New York State decided that education is a human right for children. Decided that. And what happened? It got super expensive. It's the most expensive in the entire country. There is no state that does it more expensive. And it's bad quality. It's worse than it's ever been. We've been going downhill since then. And so it's more expensive and lower quality. That happens all the time. If you say, Ingrid, that healthcare is a human right, if you say that, what will happen? It will become more expensive, already happening, because many people believe it's human right, already happening, and the quality will go down, already happening. What you want to do is create a system. That's the key aspect a system to where healthcare is easily accessible and cheap enough for anybody. That's the actual goal. Announcing it's a human right, what it does what so many people do. And I see it on the left and the right everywhere. And worse, libertarians. Libertarians are just more than anybody I've ever met. It's virtue signaling. It virtue signals, does not solve the problem, and makes things worse. Virtue signaling many times actually hurts people. It actually kills people. I'm not even joking when I say that. I've done this show. I very often actually show ways that virtue signaling hurts people. There's all the time. Healthcare as human right is a virtue signal. There's no answer that you can give me that makes that better or true. You can scream Medicare for all if you want to. That doesn't make it a human right. That makes it more expensive and worse quality. I don't know that. It's already happening in New York City. It's already happening in New York State. We almost have, we're the closest to Medicare for all than any other state. We also have the worst wealth gap in the entire country, most expenses for Medicare for the entire country, and not the best results. It doesn't work. I get where your heart is, Ingrid. I want a better system too. And I've talked about it again, literally since 2017. I've talked about having a better healthcare system for 8 years. How to make that more access to more people at a cheaper price. I don't want to give everybody Medicare. I want, because the wealthy will never take it. They will just still have great doctors. The best doctors will all go up. Already happening. Like, I'm not making this up, right? You can just check it yourself. It's already happening. I want everyone to have access to the best doctors. And here was my plan, Ingrid, to start this program. Those who don't remember, this is a plan I came up with in 2018. Already in New York State, and back then, New York, 2018, we weren't at the 50% mark yet. We now are past that. But back then, we were not. And I was saying back then, take all the people in Medicare. Actuaries already know about how much money you're going to spend on your healthcare. They go through it. They know about how much you're going to spend. For the sake of argument, Ingrid, they think you're going to spend $3,000 a year on healthcare. Again, I made the number up. I don't know you at all. That's just the number I'm making up for the sake of this argument. So they give you a card, debit card. On that debit card is $3,000. You can use at any licensed medical doctor in the state. You use it as you see fit. What? Yeah, use it as you see fit. But Larry, what if I have an emergency? You're still on Medicare or Medicaid. So if things go worse, you still get to use that. But you basically get a free $3,000. You might go, why would I do that? I feel like I'm throwing money away. No. Now, what will happen? Everyone on Medicaid and Medicare will get what the actuaries believe is they're going to spend. Now, you get to keep that money for medical only. You get to keep that money, Ingrid. So if you don't go to the doctor or use any of those doctors, you get $3,000. Next year, what do you get? Another $3,000. You have $6,000 now. What? Yeah, it's money that you would have gotten anyway. The state's still paying it. Doesn't matter. The state's paying it anyway. You just keep the money. Wow. So I can use it for a doctor? Yes. What will happen? I know this already because it already happens already with the private equity firms. What will happen? If they see that, wait a minute, Ingrid can just show up and swipe a card, and I don't have to have all this admin, all these people, all these fighting back and forth. There is a job, literally a job, people who fight insurance companies to get money. That's a job. They have to hire someone to do it. To hire people to do that, another expense. All that's gone. You just walk up and swipe your card. Doctors will try to get you in, Ingrid. Why? Because it's, to my earlier point, a capitalist system. They want that money. So they will try to get you in. So now the best doctors, who right now only the wealthy go to, will open up their stores to you. You can come. Now, they know you only have $3,000. That's all you got. They'll try to get it all, of course, because it's capital, right? But you get to choose. Because if you don't want to go to that one, you can go to your Medicare doctor if you want to. Up to you. Or you can go to the better doctor. Here's what I know will happen. Again, because it's already happening in New York City. If you start going to those doctors that the rich people go to, you'll like it. Because it's better. Because it's better. Lara, you being, whatever, classist? No, I'm being real. It's better. If you haven't been to a private doctor, you should go. It's better. It just is. Here's how it works if you are not in a private doctor. If your doctor takes insurance, you go to your doctor. You have an appointment at 2:00. You're seen probably 3:45 because they double and triple stack because they have to, because Medicare only gives them $10 every time they see you. They got to double and triple stack so they can make enough money. So they double and triple stack because they can't afford if anyone doesn't show up on time. So they double and triple stack you. You're late. When you go there, there's 2 doctors and 4 administrators. The administrators are more concerned with photocopying your information than anything else. They don't care about you. You are in the way. You're not the customer. You're in the way. The customer is the insurance company or the government if it's Medicaid, Medicare, not you. You are in the way. The room maybe is nice, but probably isn't. It hasn't been updated in 30 years. The magazines are all late if they even have any. And if you even have a place to sit down, you're lucky if you do. After that, what happens? You get seen. Your doctor talks to you for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. That's it. And it always ends with one of three: a prescription, a procedure, or a test. Why? That's how he gets paid. That's why your doctor does that. That's the reason. Doesn't matter what you have. There's always a prescription, a procedure, or a test. And they talk to you for 5 minutes. Go to a doctor who doesn't take insurance. Write that check for $150 or whatever it is, or swipe your credit card. I hope you have it if you don't. Maybe your friend can help you out if you don't. But just go once if you can. Your appointment's at 2 o'clock. You'll be seen latest 2:05. You'll be treated nicely and politely because you swiped your credit card or gave him a check. You'll go in, doctor will actually talk to you. Doctor will say, Ingrid, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? What's your stress level? You have an actual conversation. And the doctor will tell you what the doctor actually thinks. Doctor will not prescribe things for you unless he needs to. Why? You just paid him $150. He got paid. He's going to give you the full time and energy that he would because you just paid him. So he'll do or she'll do whatever the case may be. That's what will happen. That's why it's nicer. People like that. In a relationship, it's okay to have a relationship with your doctor. You can actually have one. Not doctor swaps every 5 minutes, every 2 years, because the doctor's office swaps because the doctor gets burned out and leaves. Doesn't happen in private doctors. Doesn't happen in private doctors. So yeah, shouldn't we all get that? I want us all to get that. We can do it that way. Because if that starts to happen and you swipe that card, they'll want you to come. And they'll start saying, you should come to me instead. And what will happen? The price will go down. Larry, that's not true. You're all great doctors. Literally zero evidence of that. That is people who are ideologues telling you that lie. Actual evidence is what I just told you. When the insurance companies and government are not running it, LASIK eye care, cosmetic dentistry, body enhancements, in every case, the price comes down. Never does it go up. When does it go up? When the government runs it. Medicare, Medicaid, the prices go up. How do we know? Doctors are leaving. So this is a story people tell you. Utterly not true. The data is in. Prices come down. Accessibility goes up. Put more of that and more people get the best thing. And then you won't care about healthcare being a right, Ingrid. You won't care about it. Why? Because healthcare will be cheap and accessible enough for everybody. You won't care about it being a human right. You'll be happy. But this is good enough. We're good. That's why I have to worry about that. The Bureau of Death, thank you for being a member. I was in the Army with a dude who took Zoloft, and he had the darkest and most empty eyes I've ever seen. He looked soulless. For some people, it does that. Depends on the person. It does do that. Yes. Ryan, thank you for being a member. I was prescribed Xanax. It made me feel numb. Yes. It kind of turned me into a zombie. I had absolutely zero energy. I got off it. I had the feeling of being numb. Agreed. Right? Agreed. I think the issue is we have to make decisions in our life. Would we rather deal with the ups and downs, or would we rather deal with the numbness? And I think most people would rather have the ups and downs. That's what I think. So, yes. All righty. Ingrid says, veterinary businesses are being purchased in Canada and working on the same healthcare model from the US. I can't afford to bring my pets to vets now. Yet that's the wrong model, Ingrid. It's the wrong model. That's my whole point. I literally said that. Because of how bad it is, private equity is buying everything. Why? Because the Medicare government model doesn't work. That's the reason. It does not work. You're correct. I'm agreeing with you. We're saying the same thing. I completely agree. Yes, we're saying exactly the same thing. Yes. Phil says, I have a friend who is on a lot of these meds. Even on the meds, I try to encourage him to find other things to help him deal with it. Yeah, but look, again, right? I do think we have to try to find an answer for people, right? We have to find an answer for people, for sure. Yes. Legacy, Zach, how are you? The problem with the healthcare system is pseudo-fascist model of government subsidy and private-public partnership that blocks competitive behavior and chooses winners and losers. Yes. That's the bad system. Accurate statement. Yes. I wish you were wrong, but you are correct. Kim says, she makes me livid. You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Anyway, it says, that is shocking, 40%. And she's like proud of that. Like, these are things you shouldn't be proud of, Andrea. You should not be like, see? You should be like, what are we doing wrong? Like, you should be doing that. Yes. Straight Ann over on Rumble says, interesting thought. What will be their alternative? There we go. Yes. There is none. That's the point. Let's just insult. Let's just insult. That's the issue. Let's just insult. So, yeah. Phil goes on and says, supply and demand, there's not enough crazy people for the supply. Look, here's the other issue, right? It's not like these pharmaceutical companies care what they sell. They don't. And that's what I keep going on, right? The pharmaceutical companies are not evil. They're apathetic. There's definitely a difference. They don't care if they sell X or Y. They don't care if people are hurt or not. They don't care. They just want to sell the pills. I get it. I'm not mad at them for that concept. I get it. I want to sell pills. I got it. So I want to make a system to where people don't want to buy these pills. Where they might, I don't know, maybe they want to buy the sexy pills. They want to buy those. Great. Buy those all day long and make money off those or whatever, right? Make a new sexy pill. I don't want to, I'll get in trouble for saying that word, but anyway, I'm on YouTube. Whatever. Just buy that pill, right? Whatever. Buy the pill that they want. Or sell something else. Or sell pills for pets or whatever, right? They don't care what they sell. They don't care. They just want to make money. Okay. Give them a better system and things will work better. Give them a crappy system and things will work crappily. I say that all the time, and that's how you see it. Yes, absolutely. Andrea says, I know a lot of people on them. We all do. Yes. Colina says, we all have something. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Kim says, Xanax, I knew was addictive. People addicted to alcohol and Xanax can actually die if they aren't properly weaned off. Correct. Yes. 100%. That piece most people get. And look, the whole idea of this somehow, somehow being stigmatized because of people saying, what's happening. How the opposite is true. The opposite is true. So I brought up a lot of this. I do want to grab one last thing if I could. And this is the piece he also brought, which he also wants to do, which is he wants to ban something, which I know I am a libertarian. We don't like banning. But he does want to ban something. I do want to show you what he wants to ban. Hold on. I think this goes to your point, Phil. So I'm going to bring it up. It's your fault if you don't like it. So.
Donald Trump to do in order to correct the chronic disease epidemic is to ban pharmaceutical advertising on TV.
Look how happy everyone is for that, right? Look how happy everyone is for that. They're excited about this. They're loving it.
There's only 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical advertising on the airwaves. One of them is New Zealand and the other is us. And we have the highest disease rate and we buy more drugs and they're more expensive than anywhere in the world.
Now, that's the issue, right? He's going to go on and say more stuff, but that's what that's you. Well, we have to have the government run it. The government does run it. But as the government runs it, we spend more and more money and we have worse outcomes. So you might go, Larry, you're a libertarian. Why would you want to ban? I don't like the idea of banning. I don't. I do not like the idea of banning. However, there is a however here. The problem I have is because they're prescription drugs, number one, they are by default oligarchy. Number two, they're prescription. So only a doctor can decide you have it. So why are you advertising to non-doctors? If you're going to advertise, it should be to doctors only, right? So that doctors know that this drug exists. Why are you doing that to regular people? It kind of breaks the idea of them being prescription only, right? Now, if it's an over-the-counter drug, I don't care. It's over the counter. I can go down to Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. I can go down to CVS and I can buy it. Okay, I can buy it with a Tylenol, whatever. If I want to buy it, I can go buy it. If it's a prescription drug, why are they pushing it to us? They should be advertising to doctors. We can't buy them, right? Only doctors can prescribe them. So the advertisement is to the wrong person. That's an issue. Not just that. They're killing us. They're killing our children. I'm not making that up. The other psychiatrists even said so. They're killing us. They're killing our children. We should have a way of talking about this. Grace says, long-term sexual dysfunction is a side effect of SSRIs. Yes, that's true. So you have depression, and a side effect is impotence. Sounds depressing to me. Yes. They lie about it, act like you're going to be climbing a mountain, right? They do that. But here's the worst part. You might go, well, Larry, you're all right. You're going to make an exception for the prescriptions. Okay. Should be fine. Who cares? Here's the reason why. Because a whole lot of people are getting money from these advertisements. A lot. Have any of you watched Fox News? Have any of you watched CNN? Have any of you watched MSNBC recently? If you have, every other commercial is a drug. Every other commercial is a drug. Take this drug, take that drug. I remember the drug names because I watch those news. I know I shouldn't, but I do. So I see it all the time. It's a problem. It 100% is a problem. Yes. This is Life 85 says, Sabby Sab said, it's better to say healthcare is a basic necessity rather than human right. Correct. And she's accurate. Sabby is correct. I've been on a show before. She is correct. Yes. That's a much better way of saying it. Because now people go, yeah, it is. And now what do? We push to get people to get it. We create an actual system to where more and more people get it. Yes, I completely agree. That's a much better way of saying it. I do like that. So there we go. Colidi says, so doctors can just doctor? Brilliant. Yes. One of the things I said when I was running was, let teachers teach. Let doctors doctor. How about that? Yes. So Straight Ann, thank you for the $5 over on Rumble. He says, pharma ads are for controlling the news. Yes. Look, the funny thing here is, right? The funny thing I like about this is pharma ads, you can't sell that many, right? You control the news, right? What does that mean? What if all of a sudden Fox News, CNN, whatever, start saying, Big Pharma's evil, they're terrible. Well, then the pharma rep goes, whoa. We dropped $10 million on this. No, stop saying that, or we're going to pull our ads. I tell the story in the past because it's similar. This was years ago. I told the story probably 10 years ago, more. There was a time when I was watching some Sunday morning show like CNN or something like that. And an advertisement for Kerr McGee came on. Kerr McGee. You might go, Kerr McGee, what's that? At the time, I don't know if they still do it now, but at the time, they used to sell, their biggest product they sold was offshore oil rigs. That's what they sold. Offshore oil rigs. And you might say, offshore oil rigs? What? Yes, that was their product. I mean, I don't know what they do now. This was probably 15 years ago. They sold offshore oil rigs. I thought to myself, why would you, is there anyone watching TV and says, damn, I'm short, like 3 offshore drilling rigs. Let me go buy a couple from Kermit. No one, that doesn't happen. Not a thing, right? If you are one of the few companies that actually buys one of these things, you already have a rep. You're talking already. It doesn't matter, right? So why would you have it? It was away from the control of the narrative for energy. So they would spend X millions of dollars on advertisements. So the news would not say bad things about the energy. Yes, Straight In is correct. You buy it so that you control the news. They're not going to say bad things. You go, I'll pull my ads. And they stop. It has worked many times and still works. So, yes, 100%. Absolutely true. So, anyway, all righty. That Liberty says, tomorrow's AMA is going to be awesome. Extra content. Correct. I will be doing an AMA tomorrow. Probably same time, 7. I probably will do that. Yes. So, thank you for that, Liberty Lady. Michael says, you can have seizures coming off Xanax. Yes, I know that. You can. Absolutely true. It can happen. So, you do have to worry about that, right? So, Daniel's like, I'm definitely for banning the commercials. I'm okay with it, but I'm not happy about it. I hate the banning part. but I'm prepared to let that one slide. I'm prepared to be kind of not libertarianish on that one. I am, because of that. I'm not prepared to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So let it go. I'm ready. I'm with you. I'm okay with it. Ryan, thank you for the $5. I really get angry when I'm watching General Hospital Blue Bloods or St. Louis Blues hockey, and I get 6 minutes of ads every 8 minutes. Yes. Yes. And those ads, I bet a ton of them are going to be take this drug, take that drug, take this drug. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Ingrid says, disagree with you, Larry. We have socialized healthcare in Canada. It is seriously underfunded by by the current government. Here is what I would respond. I know Canadians have socialized healthcare, and wealthy Canadians come to America. I don't mean to be mean, Ingrid. Wealthy Canadians come to America. That's what actually happens. They pack up, they come to America to go to private doctors here. I know, I live in New York City. They come to New York City. That's a thing. Wealthy Canadians don't use your system. They come to America. That's what actually happens. I know that seems harsh, but it's true. Not just that. There's waiting lists in Canada. You know that. And of course, there's also euthanasia in Canada. There's that too. So I know that was a story, but the story was based on something real. That's not a thing here, right? That's not a thing here. That's one thing we don't do. Some people might think that's wrong, but that's one thing we don't do. The system in Canada is everyone's covered. I agree. I'm not saying you aren't covered. I mean, that's true. If you look at the idea of at least, that mindset, I think, is not a good mindset. It's a mindset of, well, at least I got covered. At least I have that. Yeah, but at least becomes then the norm. And at least it goes to the people who need it the most, right? The people who are the sickest, the people who are the weakest. They're the ones who get the at least. I don't want the at least. I want everyone to get rich people care. And that's not an easy thing to do. That takes time and energy. But it's not what the government does. If you look at what's happening in Canada right now, Canada also very expensive in what the government pays. Very expensive. Not the best way, right? You were saying it's underfunded because it's expensive. I have an idea. Make a system to where you don't have to fund it. There's the point. Again, looking at healthcare that is not run by the government, non-essential healthcare, who's funding it? The individual people. There's no government funding, which means there's no government requirements. There's no government issues regarding it. People just are able to use the system effectively. If you look at what's happening now in America, and I would argue in Canada, and probably you look at even in Germany, other areas that have this, you look at it, every industry that government runs, every one of them, cost goes up, service goes down, accessibility goes down. Everywhere you look. I'll give education. Department of Education started in 1979, 1980 in America. Has education gotten better? No, it's just got more expensive. It's actually worse. It's worse and more expensive. This is not the answer. I would argue if you look at the wealthy people in Canada, they come to America. They come to New York City. Again, do we have an at least? Yes, I agree. It's an at least. I don't want at least. I don't think because you aren't wealthy, you should get second-class healthcare. And I know that may sound harsh, but that's what you're getting. You're getting second. I know. I'm living, again, I keep saying I live in New York City. If you live in New York City, you know. And when I told Sam Cedar that, I didn't know he went to private doctors, but I knew he went to private doctors. That's why I said it publicly. And he was like, yes, of course, because that's how it works. If you're wealthy in New York City, you go to private doctors. That's how it works. And that's how it works in Canada too. Just saying, that's how it works in Canada too. In fact, that's how it works in Europe in general also. You might go, well, the French have a system like so-and-so. They also have what they call, I think they call it supplemental insurance. That means rich people insurance. That's what that means. So wealthy people pay extra. They go to private doctors. And how that works, for those you don't know, is you go to a private doctor. The private doctor only provides you with a receipt. That's it. take your receipt, you give it to your insurance company, and the insurance company pays you some part of that, whatever that is. So say you're your private doctor, it costs you $200. You take the receipt, you give it to your insurance company, and they throw you $25 or $50. So they pay a little bit. That's the supplemental insurance. Wealthy people use that. That's how that kind of works. So yeah, I don't mean to be mean. I mean to be forward, and I'm glad you're here. Please keep staying here. Please keep talking. It does matter, and I want you to be here. So please stay. Jared says, I fear that RFK will compromise them doing what's necessary. His deal with Senator Cassidy to get confirmed was disheartening. Hopefully he breaks it now that he is confirmed. This is a part that I get, Jared. I do. And I've said it before too. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do I like the idea of banning ads? I don't. Will I put up with it? Yes. Yes. You might go, but Larry, that's not libertarian. I want stuff to get better. I'm okay sacrificing this or that. I am. I am. And you may get mad and not like it, but I am. If he has to get some of the things done, if he has to compromise, I would rather have that fight on what to compromise on. How about that? I would rather have that fight on what to compromise on versus not getting anything done. How about that? That's where I'll go with that. It's a valid worry. I think you're right to worry about it. We should watch it and hold him to it. All I'm saying is I'd rather have that happen, if that makes any sense. Andrew says you got to choose your battle sometimes. Yes. Yes. I think that's true. Yes. Phil, thanks for being a member, my friend. We're in a coalition government, Libertarian and Maha. Also true. So sometimes you got to be with a coalition sometimes. Yes. Sometimes you have to. I get your point, Jared. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I'm just saying we have to make sure we're talking about that, right? That's the issue. I think we have to make sure we're okay with that. So, guys, I'm going to ask you one more time if I could. Please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please, it does matter. Every little bit counts. Every time you do it, Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore, he says, I will share this in more places. More people will see it. If you have not shared it, please do so. Repost it. It does matter. Every single bit does matter. Please share it if you can. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, I don't know why you hate me. What have I done to you? Click that all notifications. And also follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. If you don't follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, you hate the children. I don't know why you hate them. They've been good to you. You shouldn't hate them. I love the super chats whenever you can, and rants on Rumble. And of course, become a member if you can. Click that join button on YouTube, $49 per month if you could. And also click subscribe on Rumble, also $49 per month, but only during the live. That is a time when you can do it. I don't know why Rumble does that, but it does. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Phil says, Larry, what fighter jet did you buy after watching Sunday Morning News? Yes. I decided to buy 3 F-22s. That's what I chose. But that's just me. That's what I picked. But you should do whatever you feel. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for this evening. I'll be back on tomorrow with an AMA, probably 7 p.m. It might be a little bit later, but I think 7 p.m. tomorrow with an AMA. Ask me anything. I'm more open with all the questions. I don't only focus on the members and the super chats. I'm much more open on anything you ask. So feel free tomorrow, 7 p.m. I will see you all very soon.